understanding of how things actually work without having this idea in your mind that when you graduate law school or when you graduate undergrad, everything will be perfect. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are a new subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. If you're not, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I release videos once or twice a week, usually about twice a week, and I would love it if you joined the family. So be sure to subscribe. Also be sure to follow me on Instagram. I post often there. I share Instagram stories. I have highlights. So yeah, be sure to join the family and join the social media following. Today I'll be talking all about career. It's all about navigating through your career in your 20s, in your 30s, and in your 40s. I'm not in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, but I am closer, well, effective next year, I'll be closer to my 40s than to my 20s, if that makes sense. And I've had to make some lifestyle changes, some career adjustments over the period of time that I've been working, and I've gotten a lot of questions from people with regard to, hey, I'm in this time of my life, I'm trying to navigate XYZ, what should I do? And I figured I'll come here and talk to you about what you should be doing at certain points in your life and ideas that will help streamline that process for you. So the whole premise of this video is that it's targeting professionals. So for example, if you work in the creative industry, this video may not be applicable to you. But if you're an accountant, if you're an aspiring accountant, aspiring lawyer, aspiring doctor, aspiring pharmacist, aspiring historian or professor, then this video may actually be for you. Hey, to some extent it may actually apply to creatives as well, so I just implore that you have an open mind while you're watching this video. So let's start with your 20s, and we're going to break down your 20s, the first half of your 20s. Between the ages of 20 and 25, you should be doing three things: studying, studying, and studying. Now of course, you're probably going to party, you're probably going to go on vacations, you're probably going to do all these great things, of course. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. What I'm saying is that your main focus at that time should be getting you the best grades you can get in college or in grad school. I already started college in Nigeria for about a year and a half before I moved to the US, and I had to start all over again, which was fine. But in my 20s, I had to work twice as hard because I was actually working a full-time job. I started out working at a call center and started out on the floor as an intake telemarketer, if you will, and then I worked my way up into a coach, and then into a trainer, and then into global operations workforce analyst, and that was all within a space of 3 years while I was in college. I started at community college just because it was cheaper and it worked better with my schedule, and I also wanted to get a degree. I wanted to get my associate's degree. It was important to me. And then I transferred my credit to university, and at that point I started teaching. I was a substitute teacher, so I'll teach in the morning and then we'll go to college at night. First 2 years of college, actually the first 2.5 years, I'll go to school in the morning from 8 to 12 and then work from 1 to 10. And then in the second 2.5 years of college, because I had a minor, so I stayed a little bit longer, second 2 years I would work in the morning and then go to school at night. So I flipped it after during that time. And my entire goal at that point was getting good grades. Getting good grades so that way if I choose to go to grad school, it'll be easy for me to get into a good grad school. Or if I chose to work afterwards, it'll be easier for me to find a good position by virtue of the fact that I do have good grades, and that would help open the doors. That's the approach that I took, and that's the approach I'm advising you to take. Don't wait until you go to grad school to start making the good grades. Focus on college, get the good grades that you can, so that way you can take the next step. At this point in your 20s, all you're doing is you're building. You're building, you're building, you're building. For me, the entire career journey, your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s, can be broken down into 3 categories. First stage is when you're building. Second stage is when you're hustling, and then third stage is where you're balancing. So, still in the building phase, and then the second half of your 20s, between the ages of 25 and 30, you're still building, but at this point you're doing internship. You are going to grad school, you're going to law school, you're getting your master's, you're taking a sabbatical somewhere, you are interning somewhere. If you're creative, you're traveling around the world, you're doing different things that will build on your previous knowledge and your previous experience and educational success, while at the same time helping you to build a solid ground for your future endeavors. This is the time where you have to have a clear picture of exactly what it is you want, exactly where you're trying to go. Not saying you can't have a detour at some point. You can totally have a detour at any point in time. However, at some point you have to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do in my second level of my 20s. And as for me, that's precisely what I did. I started law school at 25, going on 26. I was one of the youngest oldest people in my class, if that makes sense, because everybody was pretty young. So amongst the young people I was older, and then there were the older people who were just like, you know, in their 40s and their 50s, who decided to go to law school as a second wind in life. So during that time, that's what I feel you should be doing in the second portion of your 20s. Now, this isn't a hard and fast rule, so if you're done with college at 23 and you opt not to work before law school or masters, which I don't recommend. I recommend you actually work and get to experience real life. That way you get to have a better understanding of the abstract concepts that are discussed in school, and you get a better understanding of how things actually work without having this idea in your mind that when you graduate law school or when you graduate undergrad, everything will be perfect. That time between college and graduate school is very important to shaping your adult experience, and I recommend that you work. But if you choose not to, then obviously you can seamlessly move into the second phase of your life, even if you're not between 25 and 30. But the bottom line is, in your 20s you're building. 20s you're building. And then in your 30s, the first half of your 30s, I recommend at this point you figure out your area of specialty. So now you're a business professional, but what kind of businesses are you focusing on? Are you focusing on startups? Are you focusing on entrepreneurs? Are you focusing on human resource management? Are you focusing on capital? Are you focusing on financing? That kind of laser focus is what you do in the first half of your 30s. And for me at that point, I knew that I wanted to practice law. I knew I wanted to practice employment law. So during that time, all I was doing was pursuing opportunities at law firms and governmental organizations that worked in line with my specialty, employment law. So seeking out positions that actively looked for someone with experience or without experience. So in essence, that's your hustling stage. You're like, okay, I want to be the best manager of operations in the East Coast. So what do I need to do that? Do I need to work at 10 Fortune 500 companies? Do I need to work at one? You know, figuring it out and doing just that, seeking out opportunities, pounding the pavement, learning as much as you can from everyone and anyone, learning your craft, developing your niche. That's what you should be doing in this first half of your 30s. In your second half of your 30s, while you're still hustling, at this point you're trying to figure out, okay, where am I trying to go? What do I want to do with regard to what I've already learned? I have the skill set. I have my undergraduate degree, I have my graduate degree, and I have 5 to 6 years experience already. Do I want to take this in a different direction? Do I want to stop here? Do I want to build upon what I have? Or do I want to still hustle? Some people at this stage in life start thinking of, okay, do I want to be a partner in a law firm? If I want to be a partner in a law firm, then I'm probably going to have to work my ass off for the next 5 years. And if that's what I want to do, if that's what I have to do, then I'm ready for it. This is the time you make that decision, when you're etching towards your 40s, when you've established your reputation, when you've established experience and expertise, and you're still trying to figure out what's next for you to do. This stage of your career also is very important because it overlaps with the time where, as a woman, your biological clock starts ticking. And I think the age where things start to look a little funny with regard to your biological clock, and Ray can obviously correct me because that's his specialty, is around 35. So this is a time you have to start thinking also, okay, now I have 5 to 6 years experience in this field and this is what I want to do, but I also want to get married, or I'm also married, or I also want to have children. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Am I going to freeze my eggs, or am I going to have a baby and work? Am I going to put my career on hold and come back, or am I just going to work through my 40s and just pray that when I'm ready to have a baby, I'll have no complication? There's nothing wrong with those options, and none of those options are wrong. None of those options are 100%, you know, foolproof. Things can go wrong at any point in time, but it's important you have that discussion with yourself during the second half of your 30s. And then the final part, I won't say the final, but just discussing our career levels for us millennials, is balancing. You get to your late 30s to your mid 40s. At this point, you've either gotten to a point where you've established yourself, you're either a partner, you're either on your way up, or you have your own business and things have become more comfortable for you. You then get to balance. It's unfortunate that balancing doesn't come early enough, but now it's time for you to sit back and quote-unquote enjoy the fruits of your labor. You probably don't have to work weekends anymore compared to what you were doing when you were in your 20s. Now it's time to figure out, how do I balance me enjoying the rest of my life and spending time with my family, to the extent you have one, and my work concerns? How do I balance trying to transition out of this business into another business or into starting my own business without, you know, losing my clout here at my current position? How do I balance taking time to take care of myself or to even advance my studies if you want to, at this point, maybe get an additional degree, or you want to start a different business for which you need the capital, so you're still staying in your current business? How do you balance those things? Those are the type of concerns that you tend to have in the later part of your 30s to the early part of your 40s, and that's how you break things down. These are the words that I live by. This is how I plan my career. These are the things that I take into consideration. This is just basically a reflection of the type of conversations that I have with my friends, the type of conversations I have with my family members, my sisters, other career women, and I implore you to try to find a mentor who understands where you are in life, a mentor who understands the things that are important to you, and a mentor who you can look up to. I find that I'm more gravitated to women who are not just on top of their game with regard to where they are working, but also their familial life. If you show me a woman who's super duper accomplished but isn't married or doesn't have a family, that's her choice and I respect it, but I'm probably not going to gravitate towards her as much as I would gravitate towards someone who is, you know, on top of her A game and has a husband and has a child, or has a child or had a husband, just because our needs align, because that's where we both are. But some people choose not to have children and they know that early on, so it's best to look for a mentor who shares that same sentiments with you. That way you can be on the same page. There's no misunderstanding as far as expectations, because he or she may expect something from you just because that's what she did when she was 25, but your goals are different. So try to find a mentor whose journey and views on life and ideologies are actually similar to yours. On the other hand, if you can't find a mentor, that's fine as well. Find a tribe of women who support you, a tribe of women who are in the same mental space as you are. They don't have to be your next door neighbors, they don't have to be your co-workers, they don't even have to be people who you see all the time, but if you have someone you can text and talk to and be like, yo girl, this is what I'm going through at work and I just don't feel like comfortable anymore, I don't feel like this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, I'm not fit. Someone like that who understands you, who can give you that level of comfort and understanding that, yeah, I get it, I've been there before and I was working my ass off until I was 27 and I woke up someday and I decided I don't want to do this anymore. Or someone who's like, I know this is what happened when I had my baby, I had to take this time off and things changed. Someone with whom you can vibe, who will listen to you and share their own experiences with you, obviously to the extent that they are genuine and honest and true. Those are the kind of people you should look out for. They will help you by navigating your career journey through the balancing stage, through the building stage, through the hustling stage, and it'll all finally come together simply because you're a go-getter. You're seeking an avenue out through which you can maximize all your hard work and everything will come together for you. So I hope this has been helpful on some level. I'm open to suggestions, I'm open to conversations about how you're navigating your career journey and trying to figure out when it's best for you to hustle, when it's best for you to build, and when it's best for you to balance. There's no linear journey towards your career success. Everyone's career journey is different. At some point in time, people have to take pay cuts just so they can spend more time with their family. At some point in time, people have to give up an area of practice just so they can go to a different area of practice. No one's career journey is the same. No one's career journey is straightforward. But what's important is, especially as a woman, and especially if you're a woman of color, as a lot of my viewers are, it's best for you to take the reins of your career in your own hands. Don't just let the chips fall where they may. If family life is important to you, if you're thinking of having a child, when you apply for a new position or when you're interviewing for a new position, try to find ways you can figure out what health benefits they offer, what maternal leave benefits they offer, what additional familial benefits they offer. If it's important to you for you to continue your experience and building on your experience, then try to figure out, okay, what's the best way for me to do this? What do you guys offer? Do you offer any continuing education training that will help you get to a better level, that will give you more exposure within the firm? Or you, like me, have a desire to combine both, to have a family and also to be on the top of your game professionally to the extent possible, then ask what the company intentions are with regard to bringing those two things together. I hope I've been able to help you guys with this video with regard to navigating through the crazy waters of your career in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s. If you have any questions about anything I discussed in this video, please be sure to leave a comment below and I'll try my best to respond to the best extent possible. If you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Do just that, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. I hope I was helpful in some level, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.